Truly, who needs a ring light when you have your sun lamp for your seasonal depression? Hello, welcome to Neurodivergent. My name is Otto. Here we talk about decluttering, organizing, tidying from a neurodivergent, chronically ill, and disabled point of view. Today's video is going to be kind of a play on the things in my room that just make sense trend from TikTok like a year ago, but it's ways that I've made my bedroom accessible as a disabled, chronically ill, neurodivergent person. Because I think that oftentimes we don't realize that things are accessibility aids when they are. I think that expanding the idea of what counts as an accessibility aid is really important, because it will help people realize, kind of the variety of things that they can use to help themselves, and also hopefully help people feel more comfortable asking for those things. I walk with a cane and I have to wear headphones sometimes to prevent myself from going into, overstimulation, but those are just what the mainstream would think are accessibility aids. So this is going to be kind of a tour around my bedroom of things that are both traditionally and not traditionally thought of as accessibility aids. So I'm gonna start when you walk in the door and then go around my room clockwise. So the first thing I have is a drop zone. I've got my keys, I've got my purse, got a ghost opening my door, and then I have my cane. And then I also have 3 trash cans in my room. I have a small one by my desk and I have a small one by my bed. I want to upgrade the bed one to an in-between size because it gets full really fast, but there isn't a lot of space. So I have to find a better one. And then I have this big one, which serves kind of a twofold purpose. When there's bigger trash, I can put it in here, but also if my smaller ones get full, but I don't have the energy to bring them all the way to the dumpster, I can put them in here. And so it's less frequently having to take the trash out. We've got my air purifier because I am asthmatic and have allergies. Down here, this is my cleaning supplies bin. Having my own cache of cleaning supplies really helps so that I don't have to leave my room if I make a mess. Especially this thing, not having to go get the full broom and dustpan every time I get crumbs on the floor has been life-changing. And then we have my desk. Everything that its most used place is my desk is kept near my desk. That's my paints and paintbrushes and colored pencils, and that is makeup. Over here we have my art papers, my iPad, various folders of things, and all of my office supplies. And then down here I have some nail supplies and makeup brushes and makeup remover because I do that stuff at my desk. Drawers are a combination of more art supplies, office supplies, and cosmetics. Up here, this is one of my favorite things that I ever figured out. Generally, I find it is impossible to only have open storage, and so the 3 things that I have closed storage for, which are my all of this is tools and room painting supplies, and I store things in old flesh containers. Is there one easily accessible? There's not one easily accessible. I don't feel like pulling one out. The things listed on here I store in old flesh containers, and so I was able to kind of use what used to be in the Lush container to label it. And then my folders are color coded. And then my electronics, I have this box that looks like kind of a disaster, but everything in it is organized by this. And all of my old bags are for old Ipsy bags and pencil cases and stuff, so they're nice and easy to describe. We've got my sun lamp, which I personally do think is an accessibility device. If I didn't have my sun lamp, winters would be even harder than they are. I have this routine and this routine so that when I get home and when I wake up, it is easier for me to be like, okay, what steps do I need to take, you know, and get myself into a routine. Up next, we have my trusty Brita, and it's a little container that I use to fill it. Having the Brita has been like life-changing because it has helped me be less dehydrated because it is so much easier to get water. If I top it off every day, you know, it still takes me like 2-3 days to get through all of it. Also, that and my like giant jar of water has helped because the less time that I need to My roommate just walked past my window and made a weird face at me. The less often I have to refill things, the better. Over here, we got one of my favorite parts. This used to work and it stopped working, and I don't know why, and I have to figure it out. Being able to have, like, not have to go all the way back to the kitchen for cold stuff was great. So I have all of my tea supplies, and then I have my kettle, and then in here is all of my tea. So that I can make tea without having to leave my bedroom. And then also salt because of the pots. And then this is just my, like, I do a lot of mending in bed, and just having this here with my needles and my safety pins is just easiest. All of the stuff on my bedside table is stuff that I would use often while I was in bed and needed a place. So I have my remotes for my TV and for my AC in the summer, tissues. This is like all skincare stuff, mostly like lotions and such, but also tea tree water from Lush so that I can like give my face like a quick wipe down if I don't have the energy to wash it. Various medications and such. Some like pimple popping stuff, scissors, nail file, lighters. I get migraines, so having this nearby is helpful. A bunch of hair ties. I have like little rubber hair ties in these Lush sample containers at my desk as well. This to help with migraines. Different inhaler, and then I've got like various as needed medications. So this is my big snack container where I put boxes in like larger bags. And then this right now is mostly empty, but this is for like smaller snacks and such. This one specifically is I'm going somewhere and I should probably bring a snack things, and then also my Mios. So I got granola bars, fruit strips, and then applesauces, and then my Brita filter. And then I have this, which is a little folding tray from IKEA that makes it so it's a lot easier to work in bed. And then this is my pain management box. Those are because my feet get really cold. Massage thing, other massage thing that you put in the, like, heating thingy. And then my bed, I have my weighted blanket on it at all times. And then down here in the winter, I keep my heating pad at the foot of the bed. It has a timer, so it turns off after 2 hours. I have really bad circulation, so my feet get cold really easily. And so that's like mega helpful. Over here, I just did laundry, so it's empty. But this bin is what I use for like clothes that I've worn, but I don't consider like, you know, I wore this around the house or whatever. Like, I can wear it again. And, like, approximately once a week-ish, I'll go through this and either put stuff away or, like, put it in the actual dirty laundry bin. Giving it a place so that it's not just, like, on the floor was really helpful. And then over here are all of my, like, accessories and stuff. I was always doing them by the big mirror. It was like, well, it's silly to have them elsewhere. Everything is like visible but has a place. I'm a big fan of corkboard plus thumbtack to hang things, and also plus binder clip to hang things. My camera fell down and I don't have the command strips to hang it back up at the moment. And then while I do most of my makeup at my desk, I was always like doing my mascara and brows over here. So I just moved those two specific things over here because those are the ones that I'm most likely to do by themselves. And then hair supplies and pin backs and earring backs so that if I want to wear one of my pins or like a stud earring, it's right here. These are tiny hair ties and like my rings. And then this is my backpack's drop zone. We also have my perpetually on humidifier because I am like a little tropical plant and it must be so moist in my bedroom at all times. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you count this, 8 if you count the nightlight in the humidifier, sources of non-overhead lighting so that there's a lot of different options. And then we have my blackout curtains because I get migraines and sometimes you just need to be in the dark, and having those to just like, you know, make this a little cocoon of darkness is really helpful. So that's all of the like actual visible things. I think another like accessibility feature of my room that isn't really visible is that everything has a place. You know, that feels trite and like, oh, good for you, like your room is organized. It wasn't always this way. You know, my room used to be a disaster zone. Not this one, but when I was a kid and up through high school-ish, I got really into Marie Kondo and, you know, figuring out how to make decluttering work for me and teaching myself, because I wasn't taught that growing up, and a lot of neurodivergent, chronically ill, disabled people aren't taught that. I have the accessibility feature of everything being in its place means that it is easy to put things away. It is easy to get around my bedroom. It is easy to keep my bedroom clean, like swept and stuff. And I think another accessibility thing about my bedroom is I have different levels of like standards. So like my standard of I'm having a really, 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 really bad day. You know, there's gonna be clothes on the floor. My bed's not gonna get made. My desk is gonna be covered in stuff. You know, my humidifier and my Brita aren't going to be filled, but like my meds are by my bed, so I'll take my meds, or I have snacks so I can at least eat something. And you know, the state of my room right now is my general baseline, where I'm like, okay, I have my general baseline of energy, so I can make my bed and put my clothes away and fill my humidifier and my Brita and sit at my desk and do work, or sit at my bed and do work. But yeah, I hope that this video kind of helped you rethink what can be an accessibility aid and like little things that you can do to make the world more accessible for yourself, because that's really what it is. I hope you enjoyed this, like, I guess little tour of my bedroom. I feel like I should be tying this back into tidying, and I guess like tidying and decluttering really is like central to this, at least for me, because having a tidied space was what allowed me to make it accessible for myself, by also making tidying stuff accessible for other people. You know, hopefully it'll empower them to lay the groundwork to make their space accessible by decluttering, if that's like the step that they need. And oftentimes I think it is, because like it's hard to see what you need if all you can see is like the clutter and the mess and the overwhelm. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like. I'd love to hear in the comments, what is an accessibility aid that you use that you really like, whether it be like a really cute cane or something like more intangible. So feel free to leave that below. Feel free to subscribe if you want more videos. It's kind of gonna be a hodgepodge of whatever I feel is like related to organizing, decluttering, etc. I have some videos coming of me decluttering and organizing problem areas in my apartment. I'm probably gonna have more videos like this where I kind of talk about the like more nebulous parts of decluttering and stuff, and I'm gonna, you know, have tips where I kind of share like my decluttering tips. I'm thinking of even doing a decluttering book review or reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope something like good happens to you today.